If you are hearing this, you have once again tuned in to the Consequence of Habit podcast. JT here, and I want to say thank you to everybody out there that's been tuning in. This is episode number 10. I mean, kind of. Like my first couple were, I'm not quite sure if you would count those as episodes, but there will be a number 10 after this one when you look on Spotify or Apple or whatever, so we're going to go with it. Hey, when I was checking the stats right before I jumped on here, I was actually pretty blown away by them. I have people listening to this thing from my tiny little studio outside Philadelphia. I have people from I don't want to fuck this up. Hold on. Let me look. Albania, everybody. Albania? What? Man, I have a strong, that's not true. I have a following in Albania. So to all my Albanian brothers and sisters out there, huge thanks for you guys for tuning in. Hey, before we get this episode going today, I want to talk about a huge supporter of the Consequence of Habit podcast, and that is our friends at Athletic Brewing Company. You know, I'll start drinking this stuff in front of people, and they go, hey, what is that? I go, it's beer, dummy. It's high quality beer. Sure, it doesn't have any alcohol, aka bad decision-making, hangovers, DUIs, fights with your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever. I don't know. I don't know who you're fighting. You're fighting your neighbor. I'm not saying you won't fight him drinking this. I'm just saying you won't do it drunk, and that's good. My favorite is their IPA. I love the Run Wild. I also love their Golden. I'm a huge fan of the Upside Down Golden Ale. So if you guys want to check them out and you want 20% off, if you want to try them out and you want 20% off, use the Consequence of Habit exclusive promo code of JTFrank20 and get yourself 20% off your first order at Athletic Brewing Company. All right, this week's guest. This week's guest is somebody I came across on social media, and I was trying to think about even how to describe him. I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent. These are, I mean, if I hear one more person say these are crazy times, it's really fucking annoying. But God, is it? Now we just found out our kids aren't going back to school, and wherever you fall on that. I'm not here to get into a political debate. What I think is undeniable is that this thing is having a profound mental effect on the world. And I don't know if you guys are feeling it. I imagine you are, but I feel like this tension, just even driving around, it may have something to do with Philly but I don't think it does, man. I mean, I talk to people, I might even talk to some of my Albanian friends and see what they think about it, but it's got this just tension where, man, everyone is at each other's throats. I mean, I was just telling some other people the other day, people have lost their fucking mind driving. It's insane. The roads are insane right now. I'm going to blame COVID. I'm going to blame people at a boiling point with jobs, lack of jobs, quarantining. We're social creatures, everybody. This is not natural. Again, I'm not saying we shouldn't be quarantined. That's not my point. My point is, I'm just, I don't know. I guess I'm just vocalizing what I've been thinking about, and you know, people are struggling. There's a lot of people that like me that have had bad relationships with alcohol or whatever substances. And I don't even care if that's not your thing. But there's a lot of people's mental status is not in level 10 right now. So the whole point of this is to get around to my guest this week. And his name is Omar. I asked him to pronounce his last name, and he was... I think he's maybe heard me try and pronounce other names on here, and he said, don't even worry about it. Just Omar's good. And check him out on his Instagram page, Omar Discovers. We're going to cover some stoicism. And I've mentioned stoicism on some of the other podcasts. But if you don't know what it's about, man, I really encourage you to check it out. It's this ancient philosophy that was developed in Athens in the 3rd century BC. And if you want to know how long ago that was, then you better go ask somebody else, because I don't have a clue. But it's just it's a philosophy. It's a way to look at life. It's helps you decide, puts things in priority on what you should worry about and what you shouldn't. The main rule of that being, if you can't control it, it's not in your control, then it's probably not something you should be worrying about, because you can't do anything about it anyway. But this guy, he puts out these posts. They're very simplistic posts. And I mean, like I said, this is on Instagram. He's like a marketing genius, because they're impactful and they're inspiring and thought-provoking in a positive way. And there's not much to them, to be honest. There's like, I don't know how he does it. I don't even know how he comes up with it. But he's interacted with me about the podcast and some other things. And he's just come across every time as the nicest guy. We started talking months ago about trying to make this happen. The time difference can make things a little difficult, but I was super stoked to be able to sit down with him and talk about stoicism, talk about living the most of life, trying to squeeze the most out of this thing, trying to become a better version of yourself. But also, what I loved about it is he was candid, man. He was candid when he said, he would talk about, hey, I'll put something out there that may sound good. It might sound positive. To be honest with you, when I put it out, I wasn't feeling that way, and it's kind of what I needed to hear, in a selfish way. And I think maybe all of us do. It just goes to show that the people, sometimes the people you think have it all squared away, they're struggling just like you and me, which I guess misery likes company, but it's also nice to know that this human experience affects everybody. Not everyone, or there aren't people that are above it. Everyone's struggling one way or the other. Everyone's finding joy in one way or the other. And what I really enjoyed about this one is just a human connection with somebody so far away. He's younger than me, a lot younger. He's 6. No, it's not true. He is younger than me, though. He's in his 20s. And I've said this about some other people that I've had on here before. I don't wish I had done this. Well, no, it's not true. I kind of do wish I'll just say I had to have my journey. My journey is my journey, and I needed it. So whatever mistakes I've made, that's my story. But it is cool to see other people that can see this train wreck happening long before I ever could, and start making changes in their life. So I really enjoy talking to him. The audio can get a little messed up, so I do apologize. But I did mention he's in Egypt, right? So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Omar from Omar Discovers. All right, man, we are honored to have Omar from Omar Discovers on the Consequence of Habit podcast. Man, hey, listen, I really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure.
This one's been a little bit in the making, man, and I'm going to say this is probably not the exact kind of interview I've done before. But with that said, my main motivation of having you on is just this amazing positive message that you're consistently putting out. I was thinking prior to this, it's like if the most well-intentioned person invented the internet, it's your stuff that they would want on there. You know what I mean? Because they're in a world in this just cauldron of nastiness and toxic stuff on the internet. It's just what you're putting out is such an awesome change and I think it's really helping a lot of people.
Yeah, that's. I think that was the main goal, just to spread some positivity and help some people, because I thought that I started feeling that the social media is starting to be very toxic, very negative. So I'm glad to hear that.
Omar, before we get into it, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are and how you got to even doing what you're doing?
Okay, so I'm Omar. I'm from Egypt, 24 years old. I started this account. So before talking about the account, I'm in the marketing field. I've studied marketing, done my master's in marketing, and I just love marketing and consumer psychology and this part of the consumer part of the marketing. And I started this account nearly, I think, back in November 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had this goal that I should share with people what I believe have helped my life, have changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that a lot of people on the internet are just like gatekeeping the information for some reason. So I just decided to share with people what helped me, and it suddenly grew. I'm still a small account, but people are just knowing every day. More people are knowing about me, so that's
yeah. The way we got introduced to each other is we both were taking part in a challenge, right? It's like this self-development challenge with another group of guys.
Exactly.
And what I like about your message, and I invite anyone or everyone to please just get on and go on to his Instagram account. It's Omar Discovers, correct? I want to make sure I got this. And
exactly.
And what I liked about it the most is it spans, like you said, Omar. We're talking to each other. You're in Egypt. I'm in the United States, and the message that you're putting out, it connects to everybody. I don't care what religion you are. In this world of tribalism and it's just something I think really resonates to everyone that gets on and follows it. How did that path start for you? You said you started making this positive change. What prompted that? What made you decide that a change needed to be made?
So back in uni, I think I was a very lazy student.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care enough, even back in high school. So what happened is I spent my first 2 years in uni here in Egypt. And then I got the chance to go to the US. So I finished the final 2 years in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah. It's a change. It's a change from Egypt.
It's not a really big university, but the culture difference just shocked me.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to keep up. And I just felt that I'm surrounded by people who just want to succeed and people who are hoping to pursue their dreams. So this got me into researching. So this got me into reading more books, more self-help books, the cheesy self-help books.
Yeah.
Everything. I've read everything. Just going, just trying to solve every issue in my life. And then I felt that I could share this with the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the account started. I just wanted to share with the people what changed my life, as I said before. So yeah, but this was what prompted my self-transformation journey.
A lot of this stuff I feel like you put out follows almost like a stoic philosophy, and I'm going to guess that's you're doing that on purpose. So what role does stoicism play in your life, and or does it? What's your thoughts on it?
So I really discovered Stoicism, I think 3 years ago. I followed Brian Holiday.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I just found about him.
Same here.
And he just changed my life. Usually, I usually was a very stressful and a very anxious person.
Yeah.
I got easily stressed. I was always worried about what's going to happen, about the future, about. And then I read about Stoicism, and I just felt that maybe that's the solution.
Yeah.
I'm still a beginner in this sport, and I still have a lot to research and a lot of studying to do. But that's the goal, because I think people are just so worried, so anxious, and they just lose focus on what's important, and it ruins their lives. So I think that's what Stoicism is doing for me. It's just helping me calm down, accept what's out of my control, and change what's not.
Yeah, that's a tough. I want to say I have to remind myself daily, but it's actually more than that. I have to remind myself on a pretty consistent basis throughout the day, especially in the world that we're living in now, right? And some of the stuff that you've put out has been directly towards the what's going on in the world, and this, I would say, overall feeling of worry that everyone has. How is COVID affected you guys in Egypt, and how is something like Stoicism helped you navigate through that?
So COVID, when it started, people didn't take it seriously here in Egypt. Mm-hmm. I think like everyone,
right?
But they really didn't take it seriously, because people needed to work and people needed to do a lot of stuff, so they couldn't just isolate themselves. So it was a very tough period, and it's still really tough until now. But speaking about me personally, I think COVID, the whole isolation, 3-4 months, was very hard, was incredibly hard on me, because there's like a lot of plans, a lot of hopes, a lot of dreams, a job opportunity, and everything just suddenly stopped.
Yeah.
So I came back to Stoicism, and I read this, I think, article written by Ryan Holiday, which said, in times of uncertainty, I think he said, you can be scared, but you should never be afraid. Just scared, like, being scared in the moment is fine. You cannot control that. But being afraid is like a long-term feeling, and it stops you from moving. It stops you from doing anything. And I just embraced the feeling of uncertainty, and I started slowly working on improving the current situation. And I started, which helped me put more effort in the blog, in the page.
Yeah, that almost goes into a Ryan Holiday's thing, like the obstacle is the way, right? So you've got this free time, and that was the same thing for me, where if it wasn't for the isolation and staying home, I don't think this podcast would have even started in the first place. So there's definitely been positives, and I almost feel selfish saying that in some ways, because there's so many people have struggled. I mean, especially here, everywhere, but in the United States and Brazil and some countries has been hit especially hard.
Yeah.
Do you find, you make a decision that, hey, I'm going to do this positive thing, and that's my motivation, and I'm going to try to do this on a daily basis. Do you find yourself slipping back into some of the old thought processes of before, and then just have to consistently remind yourself to get back to where, this positive thing? And if so, like, just kind of walk me through that, because I know for myself, sometimes I don't even realize it's happening.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I think it's very hard to control it. Especially when you're isolated, and especially every day you're isolated, it gets harder. It gets harder. It gets harder. So yeah, 100%. Sometimes I post and I put in a design, but I'm struggling in my personal life.
Yes.
And I just feel like I'm lying. But when I'm spreading a positive message, but my life is not currently positive. So it was very hard, and I found myself slipping back into this negative mindset. But like, the best thing I can do is just keep reminding myself and keep thinking of, okay, just look at the positive. Just remember that without this isolation period, you would have not like impacted a lot of people's lives just through designing posts and sharing positive notes.
But Omar, I think you saying that, you saying the fact that I'll put something positive out, even though I'm not feeling that, is, I think refreshing is the wrong word. I think it shows people like a vulnerability that they almost need to hear. Because if you're looking at somebody and you feel like they're on a whole other level all the time, right? They've got this positive outlook on life. It's very hard to relate to that for most people. And I felt the exact same thing. You know, I started this podcast with this motivation to help people. And when you first start something like that, things come easy, right? Like the work you put in, it's not work. It's a passion. And I found myself slipping recently, and this is going to come out. This may be one of the first one that comes out after a bit of a break. And I was feeling the same thing, man. I was feeling almost like a fraud because I was putting out this positive thing, and you know, I was struggling. I was struggling with social media. Social media, and this is why I like what you're doing so much. And I'm going to read something out loud that you would put, but social media can be a dangerous, slippery slope. You can go in it with the best intentions and find yourself going down this rabbit hole of just negativity or your motivation for looking at there's just some, it's the internet, man. It's a tightrope.
Yeah, 100%. As you said, I started very positively. I got so much positive support, and until now I'm lucky. I think I'm one of the lucky people who don't get a lot of negative feedback, which is good, and it's bad because when I get negative feedback it's gonna hurt, because I'm used to the positive ones. But social media is a very tough place, especially in these days. I remember I listened to your Louis and Yannick podcast episode. And I don't remember who talked about it or who said that, but they said that people, because now they have more time and they are isolated and they're just feeling uncertain, there's more hate on the internet. People have more time to hate. People have more time to spread negative thoughts. So social media, if you're not in control, you're gonna be struggling. So.
Yeah. One of the things you posted was just about just sitting in quiet, right? Like disconnecting from everything. And I think one of the problems with social media, and one of the things I struggled with, is there's a lot of smart people designing these things to make it addictive. And I have an addictive personality. So sometimes sitting in my own head is one of the hardest things to do. And when you have that little computer in your pocket, that makes it real easy to constantly, you know, just be occupied and looking through stuff. That's not what I need. I need a discipline of action to you know, look at something, post something, and walk away. Because, like you said, even the negative comments. I mean, I had nothing but positive comments on YouTube, and somebody gave me a thumbs down, and it was like, dude, that's stuck. I'm like, what? How?
Yeah, I think like you can get 100 likes, and just one dislike would ruin your night.
Yeah,
and you would be like, why? Like, why do you not agree? Which hurts. And I don't know what's the reason behind that. Because you already got like 100 likes. So when I do the polls, for example, and I'm hoping for a positive answer, and I get just like 2-3 negative answers, and the rest is just positive, I just focus on the negative and I stop and I forget about the positive, which is something I'm trying to change. So
it's because I think it's the ego, right? I mean, it's like the whole reason you're doing what you're doing is to get people to it's to get people to be able to put their ego aside and really look at their life. And I'm saying this as someone you're going through the same thing. Yet my ego's the first one that gets upset if I see something negative about it.
100%, 100%.
If you don't mind, I'm just going to read something, and I don't know if this is your quote or you put it on there, and to be honest, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
But I absolutely love this. I've been off Instagram for a bit, and I just pulled it up to look at your stuff before we jumped on, and this one really stood out to me. It says, your actions are a consequence of your thoughts. Your thoughts are a consequence of what you consume. And in the modern age, what you consume is largely a consequence of how you select and refine your social media feed. Choose better inputs, get better outputs. And that is, dude, that's actually, I wish I'd read that about a month ago, because it probably would have helped me quite a bit. Do you find yourself sometimes and it's probably going back to the other question, but having to walk away from social media or just take a break, or is it causing any type of stress in your life?
A lot. A lot of stress. And I find myself, the past few weeks, I've done something where I gave my partner, my account. And I told her to change my password and not tell me what's the password is. Because usually when I just delete Instagram, I can still have access either on my laptop, or I can just download it again. So especially lately, I've took, I think, a 2 weeks break, because we already had a vacation here in Egypt. So I just said, okay, that's the perfect time. But even when I didn't post, I was always checking. Yeah. I was always hoping for someone to like the post, and I was always hoping for someone to comment or share it, and it's very tough, to be honest, because you just keep thinking about it, and it consumes your day. And even lately I've discovered something, that when a post does not do as well as it used to do, this affects my confidence.
Yeah.
So and the thing is, it's not about the likes; it's just about the impact. So when just someone tells me, like, comments that saying, like, okay, this change just helped me, that's it,
Yeah.
So
as if every new post is supposed to be more powerful and life-changing to people, which is impossible, right? And again, it gets away from the motivation and what the project's supposed to be about in the first place. Yeah, I struggle with it, man. It really made me wonder and question why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's actually been talking to other people that's helped me along the way, because I'll be interviewing somebody and we'll go to get off, and they'll make the comment, hey, I really hope this helps people. And I need that because that's why I do. That's why you do what you do, right? Is to help people. And in the perfect world, we would just put something out that we think is positive and walk away from it, and whatever happens. But I'm not quite that evolved yet. So
no, it's not that easy. You just keep on refreshing and refreshing and refreshing.
And to me, I actually get embarrassed by it. Like, I'm a grown man that's worrying about if I'm getting likes on social media. Like, what is going on here? I'm talking about being stoic and dropping what I think is this wisdom and knowledge on the world. Yet I can't stop hitting refresh on an Instagram thing. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, I think one of the most one of the times I was very embarrassed is when I posted a post talking about, like, when you realize that no one cares, you shine.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted this, and I just kept on refreshing.
I love it though,
because I'm waiting for the likes, and it's like likes for me means acceptance, or that the idea is correct, So if I don't get a lot of likes, but fortunately, I started being aware of this lately, and I'm starting to just post it and let go. I'm trying to do that. I try to post and just log out.
Yeah.
And instead of just checking it every minute, I check it every hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but it's not easy.
It's not. It's not. And I was explaining this to somebody. I said, yeah. So you have this motivation to do good, and picture a highway and you're on it, and that highway is towards something positive. But unfortunately, there's exits every quarter mile, and you're going to get detoured. And I need that constant reminder, like, why are you doing this? What's your
Yeah.
motivation? Is because it's not for likes, and it's the really smart engineers somewhere that are developing these systems that will. I think it contaminates the message because like they know how our brain works. And I don't care if you're from Egypt or Philadelphia or what, they understand what dopamine is and what it does to your brain. So, yeah,
100%.
yeah. How does, and just tell me to shut up if I'm getting into something I shouldn't. How does something like stoicism and what the stuff that you're putting out and something like religion, what religion you are is almost irrelevant, but how do
Yeah.
you hold both those at the same time?
So I believe. So I'm in the Islam.
Mm-hmm.
When I started going into Stoicism,
Mm-hmm.
I found a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
Just with accepting your fate and and not worrying about what's coming and treat people with kindness and so for me, from how I looked at it, I found a lot of similarities. So for me, it just connected.
Yeah.
I just felt that okay, maybe that's what I'm doing is right, and that's why I just started focusing more on Stoicism.
Yeah.
Because there's no like difference in beliefs. It's not something that's totally different. Because there would be an issue here, like in my brain, there would be an issue. I'm trying to go. I'm trying to pursue two different things. So
I like that. So it's not one thing or the other. They actually build on each other. And I find the same thing. My journey started because now for a couple reasons, but one was I started to examine my relationship with alcohol and
yeah,
so if you follow any type of 12-step program and you look at Stoicism, it's almost like they stole everything from Stoicism. I shouldn't say stole because they use a lot of the same things, and I agree. I think a lot of religions and a lot of self-help stuff, they take that from the teachings of Stoicism, and to me it's just cool. Like, everyone thinks that the people now are evolved more or smarter, and then you look back to when this stuff was written, and man, can you imagine?
They were so much more smarter. They were so much more
Yes.
evolved. Like right now, it's just crazy the difference. Okay, so we have all the technology, we have all the money, we have everything, and I think we are like they didn't have 1% of our resources when it comes, for example, to reach learning and knowledge and being connected to other cultures, and we're not using it.
Mm-mm.
And they have like just reading. For example, I've started reading the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius a few months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy is just like
Dude, it's amazing.
He's a genius, and he's just talking to himself, and that's his thoughts.
Do you think that pure, I don't know if pure is the right word, but that simplified life without all the distractions, without the social media, without just computers and cell phones, and do you think that path of living a simple life makes realizing some of those ideas easier? I don't know if I'm wording that right.
Yeah. I think somehow.
Yeah.
It's because uh, the simpler your life is, the less distractions you have.
Mm.
So the more time you have to think. But right now we don't have time to think.
Yeah.
We just don't have time to think. We're either consuming, uh, or we're just stuck in a 9 to 5 job. And we're just doing what we're told, and we're just hoping for the just to get enough money to live. So people just it became so complex that people are just you know they're not thinking, they're just following the orders, and that's it. So
I agree.
100%.
And then and things are complicated, and give somebody a free minute now, and this is myself included, and they're probably not contemplating life. There's, like you said, distraction. They're playing Fruit Ninja or something. Something like
Yeah,
some
yeah.
mind numbing.
Netflix, just instant. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Where back then they didn't have that. You just kind of sat in your own head and could really think about things. And I'm jealous of that. I tried
yeah,
even in this environment where we were isolated. That was a great opportunity that like I said, I got some positive stuff from it, but I felt like I also wasted some of that time. When you started consuming some of this self-help stuff, and whether it be Ryan Holiday or whatever, wherever you're getting it, do you find yourself almost over-analyzing things in your life?
so the first couple of books forced me to be over analytical, especially that I discovered that the whole direction I'm taking is wrong. So like literally when I just paused, and looked at my life, every single habit I did was wrong.
Mm.
Was just helping me fail.
Yeah.
So I was very over analytical at the beginning, but as I grew and as I improved, I think this stopped, and I just began accepting who I am, and
Yeah.
just yeah.
Yeah, I think that acceptance thing is, for me, it's been a tough thing. Well,
Yeah.
like I said, sitting alone in my head, it was always. I didn't even realize that I was having such a hard time with it, because I was filling my time with things that took me away from either thinking about things or pretending to be something I wasn't. And I think that's one of the reasons I struggle too, even with the podcast. Like I said, if I'm putting out something positive and not feeling it myself, because it makes me wonder if I'm resorting back to some of these things of, am I being authentic? Am I being true to myself?
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's weird also to get positive feedback from people when you're not feeling good, but you're putting something out there that is
100%.
yeah. So
Yeah, like you said, I feel like that I'm just, like I don't deserve this. I'm just sometimes I give advice about habits, and I'm not following this advice
yeah.
right now, like
Yeah.
currently. Uh, so sometimes, like, I think it's just you have to accept and realize that that's the only way. Like when you don't have motivation, when you're not feeling confident, when you're in a bad place, you just have to push, and you just have to share your work,
Yeah.
and because when you help people, this adds some positivity to your situation. So
Yeah. What's your thoughts on like freedom? What you're building with Omar Discovers is yours, right? No one's telling you to do
yeah,
that. You're building something from the ground up. Um, do you have goals with that? Do you have plans that can become life's work? Is this just going to be a hobby that you continue to do, or are you just letting things play out?
so I like my whole vision is just to keep creating value. So Uh, so my plans is that I'm gonna keep creating value, but I'm gonna add more channels. I'm gonna add more ways of creating value. So this is my first podcast ever,
Is it?
and now that's why I'm a bit nervous. So
You're killing it, man. This is great.
I'm hoping on adding a podcast.
Okay.
I'm hoping on adding videos, just talking about stuff. I'm like I'm trying to follow. I don't know if you know him, Matt Diavella, on YouTube.
No.
He's an amazing YouTuber, and he's just like creating value for people and having a podcast and sharing and interviewing like people who have succeeded in their lives or people who are struggling, and so this is a goal.
Okay.
Because I believe in Egypt, the quality of what I'm doing and the whole industry, in the motivational industry, is very cheesy. And like sometimes I believe that they just translate from for example, Anthony Robbins or Les Brown. They just translate it into Arabic and that's it. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to keep on creating value using different channels. So
yeah,
but it's not for me right now. It's just about impact. It's not about profit. How profit from this? It's just about helping people.
No, yeah, I completely get that. Like to even talk about like profit. I've even read a couple advertisements and I almost feel. I mean, I don't feel bad about it, but it makes me question. Again, it goes back to motivation, right? I didn't sign up for this. You didn't sign up for this to become, financially rich from it. What are do you have a timeline for some of these other pages or podcasts or projects that you're gonna be working on?
I think in the next few months, I'm gonna start like the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the video is going to take some time because I'm not very comfortable with like talking about my ideas in video.
Yeah.
I just feel that I don't know. It's like it's taking some needs a push.
Yeah.
The video part.
Yeah.
I'm not. So. But the podcast, hopefully it's going to come soon, and I have other plans. Just like for example, that's tiny a plan which is gonna come, which I'm gonna introduce very soon, like a wallpaper, something just just so you can have it with you all the time on your iPhone, on your laptop, on your phone. So I'm just trying to branch out a bit.
That's if you already mentioned Ryan Holiday. What are some of your go-to people, books, inspirational quotes? Like, where are you getting your daily motivation?
So I think one of my favorite authors is James Clear.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you look at my posts, he's consistently there.
Yeah.
I read Atomic Habits and it changed my life, to be honest.
Wow.
Especially his advice on like changing your environment.
Yeah.
When you change your environment, it's easier to change your environment than to change your habits. So I think it's James Clear and mainly James Clear, Ryan Holiday, and then the other sources of motivation just from random books. I'm just reading a book, or for example, on while reading an article or watching a video, or I just keep on finding these things. I don't know how, to be honest. But I just find them. I just write them down on a list, and that's it.
Yeah, I've found some of the same things where I don't even know how I found some people. I don't even know how I found Stoicism, and well, I know I found it through Ryan Holiday also, and I think he's been responsible for bringing Stoicism to a lot of people in the world.
he simplified it. I think it's a very, if he didn't simplify it, a lot of people would have not understood it.
Yeah, and I start every day with the Daily Stoic, and I'll read something from Meditations, and I think you're right. I think he takes that what some people might not always understand or find hard to read, just because of the verbiage of something that was written thousands of years ago, and he translated, but he'll put it into like a modern thing, and I think that's really, really helpful. But
yeah.
I question sometimes, like, what is this constant path that I'm on to try and become a better version of myself, and like what drives that? And when I talk to Yannick, and I talk to Louis, and I talk to you, I wouldn't change anything, because my journey is my journey, and I had to do it later on in life. But I'm very much impressed by people in their 20s going through this process and examining it, because there's a lot of mistakes that you can avoid, and I think that's really an admirable thing. And I'm excited to see what comes of Omar Discovers and the podcast and all the great things that are going to come from it, man. Because I believe what you're doing is important, and you're bringing it to a whole another audience. You've got, like you said, in Egypt, maybe they're lacking some of the things that you might be able to find other places. But were you with your wife before this transformation started? How has this impacted your relationships with friends, families, loved ones?
So I started back in uni, as I said, and
that's uni's university is what you're correct.
Yeah, university. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's okay.
We call it uni. So.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I helped them, like I motivated them, because I started sharing a lot of what I found with them. So of course it improved every single relationship I had.
Oh.
Because I started realizing that, okay, I can do better. I can do better with myself, and I can do better with the people around me. So this changed every relationship, either career or like with my family and with my close ones, with my fiance, and just it changed my life as well.
Yeah. Do you think
it improved every relationship?
Do you think you would have gone down this path if you hadn't moved across the world for a period of time and saw how things were different? Did it open up your eyes to different things, or did it make you question things you might not have questioned if you had stayed in Egypt?
I don't think if I stayed in Egypt, I would have took this direction, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I would have stayed the same, maybe just gained some experience, just made some new friends, but that's it.
Yeah.
But just traveling on its own changed my perspective and changed my view on life.
Yeah.
At least I became more open-minded, more accepting, more curious. So I think these things are the main reason why, if I stayed in Egypt, I would have stayed the same. So.
Yeah, there is something universal about some of the messaging you put out. It doesn't matter where you're from, or, like I said, what religion, or there's things you can take away from it,
Yeah.
And
no matter, like, it doesn't matter if you're old or if you're young. I try to balance out. Like, even though my insights show me that most of my followers are on the younger side, I just feel that maybe just like someone who's a bit older would find it helpful as well. So I try to balance between both.
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, some of the like you said, the wisdom that you're putting out, some of it will be yours, some of it will be you're just passing along a message that's been put out a long time ago. And
Yeah.
I do think that older you get, we mentioned it on the Louis and Yannick one, that sometimes people that are older have a hard time accepting new ideas.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of people, like myself included. I think you live a life and you in a certain way, and then at some point you realize this isn't working for me. I don't have
Which
it
is
all.
amazing.
Yeah, like
Yeah. I think it's amazing because I see people here like as old as you, and they just accepted that that's their life, and they accepted that they were never gonna change. They have no time, for example, or which is not true. Like people believe that the only time to learn is when you're young, and it gets into their ego. Like, okay, I cannot. Like, I have 50 years of experience, for example, or 40 years of experience. I know better than anyone. So, and this ruins their life, and this keeps them going in the same wrong path. So what you're doing is amazing, to be honest.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. The ego will tell you, this guy hasn't, and I'm not talking about you. This guy hasn't lived my life. He hasn't been around as long. He hasn't seen the things. But I think you're exactly right. I think people get stuck in. I don't know if rut is the right word. I will say they get stuck, or they're comfortable where they are.
Yeah.
Without realizing that there's more out there. And I think it's the journey of trying to find what else is out there. I hear other people say it, and I've said it here, man. Like we get whatever you believe in. What we do know is we are here now, and we want to make the absolute most of it, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, man. Like I think it would almost be depressing if where you are right now is as far as you're going to evolve. If that's it, because I don't have it figured out.
Miserable. People just live. Life becomes miserable, if you know that no matter what you do, or if you accept, or if you believe that no matter what you do, you're gonna stay in the same place. You're never gonna change. You're too old for that, or even you're too young for that. Life becomes miserable because there's no meaning.
Right.
You're just living for the day. You're just living for your job. You're just living to get some money and to be safe. And so, and it's hard to get out of the cycle, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's hard to get, especially when you have a lot of responsibilities. I think everyone, you should start somewhere. You should start small at least, and start.
What's what James Clear says, right? Even I think a lot of it does come from habit forming. I think a lot of negative things come from habit forming. You said something earlier. I had habits that helped me fail. Which is a way of wording it that I hadn't heard before, but I really like. I like it. Like it's helping me fail instead of helping me, achieve. What are some of your current habits now that are helping you achieve or preventing you from failing?
I don't know if that's a habit, but I made it a habit, and it's learning to listen. Just staying quiet for a bit, especially when there's when it's a heated discussion. So I think learning to listen is something I've been trying to work on and to turn into a habit, and it helped me a lot because when I listen, I am benefiting, and the other person is benefiting because at least they feel that they're being listened to.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's a habit, but for me, I'm trying to make it a habit.
Sure,
to listen and talk less,
100%. I mean, one of the things you posted, and I wrote it down before we started, was listen, understand, not to respond, and that is something. Myself included. especially when you start putting out stuff where you can be right or wrong, you can be deemed as having something important to say. And I'll find myself, and this goes back to ego of somebody's talking, and I've already have this response in my head, which I think is going to be somehow impactful, and I'm going to come across as smart or witty or whatever. And that's the ego. That's that same person or that same version of me that is refreshing my phone, looking for the likes and the comments.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There is something about just shutting up.
I think this ruins a lot of discussions.
Yeah. 100%. I struggle with that for sure.
I think it's very hard. It's one of the hardest things to do. It's a very, very tough communication skill, and I'm still struggling with it, but at least I'm trying. Because it's very hard to first shut up, and then it's very hard to start understanding and really listening, and not just daydreaming or thinking about what to say or thinking about how they are wrong and you're right. It's very hard, but I think it takes practice and it just get better and better. So I think it just needs practice. It's very hard.
It is.
I just have to say it.
If you don't mind me asking, what are we looking at here? This video won't be on, but what's the board that your arms are on here? This is that keep motivated? Is that what it says?
Yeah. So this one, I think 2 years ago, it's called Keep Moving.
Keep moving. Okay, I couldn't see all the.
Yeah. It's under the glass, so I can't. But 2 years ago, I ran a marathon, the full marathon, and it was literally the hardest thing I've done in my life.
Yeah.
Because I trained for the half marathon, but I ran the marathon.
Wow.
So the first half was easy. So what happened is that in the last 5-6 kilometers, I started struggling. My body just stopped. And my fiancée was there, and so she just really quickly got this banner, and she wrote "Keep Moving," and then she wrote a nice message, and she just found me, and she just showed me the banner while I was running.
That's great.
So it was some type of because it I've done a lot of hard stuff in my life, but this was, I think I struggled with my body for a month after that. I just couldn't move. So I always have it with me.
That's cool, man. There is something about, I think, doing something hard like that. So when we talk about, kind of exploration of our brain and what we're capable of, there's a truth that you don't get from anything else that you can get from pushing your body beyond what you thought you were capable of. One of the guys I had on the podcast, Spike Taylor is his name, and the guy runs 200 miles at a time. He does races, so he did 200 miles in 56 hours. And like me, it's insane, right? And like me, he's had his demons in his life. But we talked about it. We talked about there is, you find an honesty and a truth that you will not get anywhere else. Through doing something hard.
Doing something hard.
Yeah. Do you?
I think the marathon just showed me what I'm really capable of. Because when I thought about it, I just said, no, that's impossible. I hate running. and I struggle with running for 2-3 kilometers.
Yeah.
And now I have to run 42.5 kilometers. And for me, that was impossible. But for some reason, I just decided I'm going to do it. And because we were running in downtown, so we had to start really early. It was we started running at 6 a.m. and I didn't sleep.
Because you're nervous.
I slept for like 15 minutes. Yeah. And I just remember that I kept talking to myself and saying that everyone is asleep and you're just doing this. So no one can do what you're doing right now. You're doing something that no one can do. So, and after that, I just started believing in myself, especially in my body more. That if I run a marathon, I can do anything else, you know.
What type of... Are you seeking other things? Is like physical fitness and activity a part of your daily life now?
It was before isolation, to be honest. If I'm being honest, I've ruined my whole like diet and health and the isolation part.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that right now, because gyms are reopened.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that I'm going to get back. But to be honest, and this is one of the things that negatively affected my mental health, because I just, even my health, my physical health was deteriorating. So
yeah, this is for and they go hand in hand, right? I mean, once that mental side starts going, the physical thing, even the motivation to move and finding comfort in crappy food and it's definitely a snowball effect that happens. When
I think I've read about something called the gut-brain axis.
Oh yeah, yep.
And how the bacteria and how the junk food creates the bad bacteria.
Yeah,
which is used in. So for me, I'm starting to understand how this works and how this literally just like a hamburger is affecting my mental health.
Yeah. That's hard, and that's one of the reasons I actually asked you about overanalyzing this stuff, because my wife and I, we walk on a fairly regular basis, probably 4 times a week. We'll go for a walk, and I started this process, and I started breaking down like everything I was doing throughout the day. I'm like, wow, this is my ego. This is me trying to escape. This is, but at the end of the day, I have just a few things I really needed to concentrate on. If I was spending my entire day analyzing everything, well, then I'm not enjoying, my day. It's just this constant assessing, reassessing. Why am I doing this? What are my behaviors? But I definitely think you're right when it comes to food, man. It's like one cheeseburger will put you out of commission physically and mentally for the next couple hours. You're done. So,
exactly. And it tastes good for a while, and then especially if you're just like consistently eating junk, it tastes good for a while, and then like 1 hour after, you just hate yourself. So
do you think?
So one of the things, yeah.
No, finish your thought, and then I've got another question for you.
I was just saying that I think one of the things that I believe is a positive is that I'm aware of my body. I'm aware of my mind. Maybe that's being over analytical, but I always try to understand why am I doing this.
Yeah.
Like why did I say this? Not in the moment, but maybe after that.
Yeah.
And sometimes my brain just, like when I think about it, I understand that maybe it's because I'm lacking discipline, or maybe because I'm of the isolation. So there's a bit of feeling of loneliness. So I just try to understand, and I just try to improve, and this is what happens with food.
Yeah, that's definitely part of the. There's one thing about being just along for the ride with your emotions and your actions and everything. And then there's another thing, even if, like you said, even if it wasn't real time, you're not seeing it like right in that second, but after the fact, you can go, well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
And I'll feel the same thing. I'll be in a bad mood or something, and I got to try and figure out like what's going on. And a lot of times it's because I lacked discipline, or I did something the day before, or that I find unbecoming or not consistent with the path that I'm trying to take. So, and once I'm in a bad mood, then, and I think this goes for everybody, then you tend to take that out on everybody else. You mentioned a cheeseburger being good initially, and I think that this goes along the line with the social media thing too. My experiences, and I think a lot of people's, is that if you're getting instant gratification from anything, that overall it's not what you need. And someone asked me recently, "Hey, what is your goal in recovery and or this path that you've been on with the podcast?" And it was exactly that, like, not to be searching these quick dopamine hits, to have an overall sense of confidence and pride in yourself that you can push those things that give you that instant gratification. You can push them away. And I think it just, you level up at some point, you know, like this feeling of self-pride, man. Because I think that's really not arrogance, but self-pride, because they're for sure two different things.
Yeah, that's true. I think anything that gives you instant gratification is bad. I'm trying to think of anything that gives gratification that's good. Especially social media and food, they just like... nothing that gives you instant gratification is good. I believe, and yes, it's. I believe it's not being. It's you being proud of yourself, because this is something that's against. Like, this is something in your nature. So just controlling it and not falling for it is something that you should be very proud of.
Yeah, I haven't perfected it.
I'm sorry about the noise, by the way. It's.
That's okay. No, that's fine. Yeah. All right, Omar. I want to be. I know you just got back from work. We're on a 7-hour difference here. You're just got back from work, and I gotta head off to work here. But I am very grateful for you coming on, man. I was really on for a couple of different reasons. One, we've gone back and forth quite a bit. You've been a huge supporter of the podcast. I love the message that you're putting out, and what I think is really important is that we are on two different sides of the world, and we're speaking this. I want to say same language, but we're on the same path of trying to become better versions, better men. You know, and dude, I love that, and I think that's what this world needs more of. Is instead of separating ourselves by religion or country or any of these things, that we can help lift each other up, man. And I just really appreciate you coming on.
Exactly. Yeah, and I appreciate the opportunity, and I love what you're doing here, and I hope that it goes viral very soon, because you deserve it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. All right, man.
Yeah, I love what you're doing.
Hello. All right. Well, let's keep in touch, and please, before we go, plug where people can find you.
So yeah, I think I have a Twitter, but I'm just active on Instagram.
Okay.
So it's at OMAR Discovers.
Okay, and I'll make sure that's.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that's in the show notes, and there's a link to it. And I definitely, everyone, please check this guy out. You're gonna. You know, I got on this on your Instagram right before this started, and it just brought a smile to my face. So I really like what you're doing, and that's it from us, man. Thanks everybody for listening, and Omar, let's keep in touch and get you back on here soon.
Sure, thank you.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in at the Consequence of Habit podcast. Episode 10's done, in the books. Thanks for tuning in, because if I didn't have anyone listening, I would not have made it past episode 1. So I really appreciate it. Hey, make sure you guys like and share this stuff. Leave a rating. It means a lot. You know, I mentioned at the end of all these only because of how important it is, and you know, try and build this thing. Let's get this thing going. All right.